chapters are we doing after this?
1 plus something else yet. One more big one. All right. We worked with absolute value back in September. So I'm going to do a little bit of reminding first about what absolute value is. Absolute value represents the distance from a point on the number line. And when you are on a number line, anywhere on there are 2 directions to go. One is in the negative direction and one is in the positive direction. But no matter what, you're talking about distance. Whether you go towards the negatives or go towards the positives. And distance can only be measured positively. You can never have a negative distance. So because absolute value represents distance, absolute value is always positive. Okay, so when we simplified it, we could take the absolute value of 6, which gave us 6, and we could take the absolute value of a negative 6, which also gives us 6. And then back in September when we were working with equations, we solved problems. Now we did ones that were a little more involved in this, but this will still explain what we need to do. If it said the absolute value of x equals 8, that x could be 8 or that x could be negative 8 because both answers would give me, both questions would give me the answer of 8. So whether I took and plugged in for this x a positive 8 or a negative 8, my answer would come out 8. So absolute value, the thing you have to remember about it is that there are always 2 solutions or 2 parts to your solution. Okay? So what we're going to have then is absolute values that are less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And our most important part is remembering that there are 2 cases. Okay? So, I stayed very, very simple with these. Okay? There's no tricks. There's no extra steps to do. This is like the simplest I can do it. Okay? So there won't be anything fancy or extra about the kind of questions we're going to do. Okay? So, how do you get the 2 cases or the 2 solutions? First, you take what you see and you just drop the bars. So x plus 2 is less than 11. Then you got to put a word. You're going to put the word and, or you're going to put the word or. And this is how you're going to determine it. So here's my little trick. You ready? If you are working with a less than or equal to, so listen to my exaggeration. If I have a less than is an and. And in a second when I have a greater than sign, I'm going to have a great or. Thank you.
Wait, what?
Okay? So my symbol is going to help me determine the word. So if it's a less than or a great or, that tells me what word to put there. Okay? Yes?
So less than and great
Or.
Great
Or. Greater, great or. We're going to write or. Less than, we're going to write and. Okay. Now, case 2. 2 switches. Case 2 has 2 switches. Case 2 has 2 switches. The left side stays the same, but you switch the direction of the symbol and the sign of the number. Okay, so I'm going to write this up here. Case 2 has 2 switches. My styluses are not working well. They're not writing today. Case 2 has 2 switches. The direction of the symbol and the sign of the number. Guess what? That's the new part. From here on out, it works just like the assessment you took today. Everything's the same way. Okay, so I'm going to solve them, I'm going to graph them, I'm going to get a dumbbell, I'm going to get a split graph. So I'm going to do the same exact thing. So everything else here is not new. It's what we just did on the assessment. So we're going to subtract 2. And on the other one, we're going to subtract 2. I'm going to do my helper graphs. So I'm going to have, oh, let's see if I can look. Less than 9, greater than negative 13. What's my final graph look like? Drew? A dumbbell. Because I have an and, I get a dumbbell between negative 13 and positive 9. And then I write my algebra answer. Negative 13 less than x less than 9. Just like hopefully you did today on your assessment. So there's really one new step to this. One new step. And then it works like what we just did in 9-2. Okay, a question so far. I'm going to be pretty repetitive, so you're going to get the hang of it. Yes, sir.
Is this mostly just what it is? Just
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
so the bars,
Mm-hmm.
they're not affecting it in any way. It's just basically telling us that we're going to have to set up the rest of
Then
it.
you're going to have two solutions for that. Mm-hmm. An absolute value tells you you've got to have two parts to your answer. Okay? All right. The absolute value of x minus 8 is less than or equal to 2. Case 1. All you're going to do is drop off those bars. So my symbol is a less than symbol. Less than is an and. Case 2 has two switches. We switch the direction of the symbol and the sign of the number. And then it works exactly like we did in goal 9-2. Yes?
For everyone, are you only going to change the symbol on the right side?
Correct, on the second case. All right, so we're going to solve. So we're going to add 8. And you'll see after you do a couple of these that the math is the same on both sides. It just comes out different because you switch the sign. And then the other one, we're going to add 8. So less than or equal to 10, close circle to the right. Greater than or equal to 6, close circle. I said that wrong a while ago, I think. Less than or equal to 10, close circle to the left. Greater than or equal to negative 6, close circle to the right. It is an and, so the intersection is that dumbbell between negative 6 and 10. Positive 6 and 10. Oh my gosh, my brain is just not working today. And then remember, when we write our answer, if you choose the smaller number on the left, larger on the right, then my symbols go to the left. If you reversed that though, which is okay to do, then your symbols go to the right. Okay, question on that one. Okay, let's do this next one. I don't think I need to do all of the rest of it. I'm going to do this one first. Okay, 2x plus 3 is less than 7. So your job is to know, since it's an absolute value, I have to do two solutions. So the first one, all you're going to do is just drop off those bars and change nothing. Then I look at my symbol. It is a less than is an and. The second case has two switches. The direction of the symbol, the left side doesn't change, and then the sign of that number. The direction of the symbol and the sign. Don't be alarmed if you come up with fractions on these. I don't remember if I did fractions or not on your OTL, but don't be alarmed if you do, okay? So we subtract 3. So 2x is less than 4. Divide by 2. And x is less than 2. And on the other one, we're going to subtract 3. So 2x is greater than negative 10. And divide by 2, x is greater than negative 5. So my helper graphs, the individual ones, less than 2, greater than negative 5. The intersection is this dumbbell. Now, I will offer this piece of information to you. None, zilch, 0, nada. None of these are going to come up going in one direction. Because they can't, because you're switching the sign. So it's not going to happen. So every and is going to be a dumbbell. Every single one of them. Every single one. Okay? So it might be the case that when you see that and know that, you don't need helper graphs, but that's up to you. I'm going to keep doing them. Okay?